Did you start on TikTok and then go to Instagram? Okay.
I started primarily on TikTok, and then jumping to Instagram was actually a weird challenge for me, because also at the time it was right when Reels was just picking up, believe it or not. So it was primarily TikTok, and then Instagram was only videos, which I think we were all super hesitant when Reels started regardless. We're like, what the heck is Instagram doing? But now it's pretty much the main, or not the main, but a big portion of the platform. And so then I wanted to grow my audience, and I wanted to just reach more people. So I was so nervous about starting on Reels. I had actually texted some of my friends. I said, would I be weird if I started posting some things on Reels? Which I dislike that looking back now, because at the end of the day, that's what made me happy, and it's not that big of a deal, and I should have just gone for it anyways. But sometimes you need that little bit of confirmation that you should just do it. Right. So I just started doing it, and I haven't looked back, and that person who was so freaked out about posting what I'm already posting on TikTok on Reels, that's like alarming to me, because I would not be scared to do that now.
Did you use the same, did you start a whole new Instagram, or did you just use your personal?
I used my personal.
That you had already had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And then with Hush and Be Bold, so I know I read some of the writing. It's so good, by the way. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. How did you get into writing? Like, it's always been probably like a passion project for you, right? And then like it's built from there. But like, what do you like to write about? Like, kind of give us more into that. Yeah.
So I feel like the writing portion of me is like my little baby, because it's still so new, but I've also been doing it for such a long time. So I would say I began writing right at the beginning of college. And at first it was purely creativity writing. So I would just somewhat write about, I would just journal, but kind of make it a really flowing poetry style of writing. Sometimes I would write short stories, more fiction based. And then I remember I would start reading articles from about like college experiences. And I'm like, wow, I kind of want to try doing that. How are these girls or boys writing for these platforms? I want to do that. And so what I did is I got all of my best work. I found a whole bunch of different online publication sites. I applied for a couple on the spot, which I never heard back from, and I got rejections, I think. And then there was one platform called the Odyssey, which was very college-based. I am very sure if you went to university in America, you probably have read one of these blogs. And I applied, and I got the position. So I was an intern for this company, the Odyssey, and every week I would write, I think it was like 1 to 2 articles. And that was like my first little bit of confidence, like, oh, shoot, I can write. Like all it took was just trying, and now I'm a writer. Right. And so then from there, like I never really took it that seriously in college. I began to, again, just post my stuff. I would send it out to a couple different publications here and there for like creativity. And then it wasn't until even, I think it was 2020, it was the first time I got paid for my writing, which was so cool. Nice. I thought that was like the most.
Was it for a different publication?
Yeah, it was for a startup company. And so I did some blog educational posts for them, and I got paid for doing something that I love. And I know that I hadn't even scratched the surface of what I could really do with my writing. So that's kind of the backstory of how I got started. It was just a little bit of having an interest and trying it over and over again. But today I would say like it's still something I'm fully exploring and expanding upon. So I do it as frequently and as often as I can, and I have some exciting things in the works too that I want to work on. But I love writing.
Do you see it as like you want to write a book one day? Do you see it as like you love like the short story format? I mean, I know on like your Instagram, it feels like to me like it's refreshing to read. Like when I read it, I'm like, oh, that made me feel good. Like that's what I get from it personally. But yeah, what do you want people to get from your writing?
That for one, I feel like I do have a very emotional side to myself, and so it's always been a lot easier for me to put that into words. I find it just comes really natural to me, and I love just expressing that, and then maybe having one person also be like, wow, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. Because I get that all the time too. I'll be scrolling through social media and I'll read a little blurb, and I'm like, holy crap, how did they know that I'm also struggling with that too?
Yeah.
I needed to read that.
Yeah.
And so I find I really resonate with that right now, that I love to have those smaller short form or long form as well, in more of an essay form that people can just read, and it gives them that tiny little boost of, oh yeah, okay, everything's gonna be all right. Like I'm not an actual failure or whatever, or whatever you're thinking of yourself. But
Right. No, we don't think that over here.
no, I've never had bad thoughts about myself.
No, I always laugh. The second that Raimi said like that you were gonna come on, I'm like, the first thing that popped in my head was the emotional support sandwich.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
Such a
From
thing.
Sprouts, right?
Such a thing.
Yes, from Sprouts.
I need to try
Sprouts.
that on my
Yeah.
next flight. I've been wanting to.
I've got it down to a science. I go to Sprouts either the night before I travel or the morning of, if it's before a 2 p.m. flight. I always go in the morning. I'm giving away all my secrets.
Yeah,
so now
no,
it's going to be gone.
no,
Hot
they know
girls
where to
don't
find
bake.
you.
No, I go at 10 a.m. If you go a little bit later, you're going to get the lunch crowd. And the lunch crowd can be long, a long line. And no disrespect to the Sprouts workers. They are the most hardworking, beautiful people I've ever met in my entire life. But they do like to take their sweet time on the sandwiches.
It's made with love.
It's made with love. It's so
why
great.
it's the
That's
emotional
why it's my
support.
emotional support sandwich. Yeah, I could go on for days and days about my emotional support sandwich. That's like, there's no real relevance other than that.
Do you get it any other time but you fly? Like, do you get it all the time, or is it just when you fly?
Yes, but then it's no longer an emotional support sandwich. It's just my
sandwich.
It's just my Sprout sandwich. And there's a specific time when it's my emotional
Okay.
support sandwich.
And now you have to tell us the order.
Okay. Well, it's nothing revolutionary, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be. Okay, I usually get sourdough bread,
That's
best.
already.
mustard, and mayo. Here's the key with the lettuce. You have to take it off of the sandwich once you get home, only because you don't want it to get
Mushy.
soggy. Turkey.
huge tip.
It's a huge tip. It really is. And you don't have to do it, but it will improve the overall experience of eating.
I need a crunch.
Said.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then just turkey and like Jack or Swiss cheese. That's all you need.
Okay.
Sometimes that's all you need.
When you
for-
make your own sandwiches, do you cut sideways or diagonal?
Oh, like,
Did I get you with that one?
I'm not too controversial on that. Like
Oh.
on random things like that, I don't have an opinion.
You'll just
I'll just whatever
sling the
my
knife
hand
anyway.
does. It's just like, okay, it's diagonal.
Sometimes
or-
I rip it in half.
Yeah, sometimes like like a third.
Darcy's
yeah,
monster.
yeah, like in just small little triangles, like 10 triangles. I'm kidding. No, I'm not a psychopath.
10 triangles.
No.
Oh